Hello, how are you today? It's a very important question for me because it tells me if you're good, that you're relaxed and watching me with joy. If you're bad, perhaps you're also relaxed and hoping that one way or the other will touch whatever that is not right within your system and get that rightened. My name is Elizabeth Abai and the program is Conversations. Today we are going to be looking at something that is imperative for all of us. That is our internal organs. The skin is said to be the largest organ in the body. Yes, but that's because it is covering several other things within the system, the internal organs within the system. A lot of times we pay attention to our appearance, our look. But do you know that what you are inside has a whole lot to say about what you actually are on the outside? Well, I'm not a doctor. A whole lot of people here seated to talk about this, but the thing is we want to look at how to love ourselves from the inside better, internal organs, and how to take care of it. And when you speak of that, we know that we can't go too far without a urologist. So for those of you who asked questions yesterday, the difference between UIT and PID, the doctor will be taking on that question. But then let's get ourselves introduced. What's your name?
My name is Enobon Robin Okereke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kevin Fineface.
Kevin Fineface.
Everestus Azodo.
All right. Dr. Everestus Azodo is a consultant urologist, and I know the clinic is Chivas Clinic.
Chivas Specialist Hospital.
Specialist Hospital. All right. Now, before we begin to answer your questions from last week, we will quickly find out how men take care of themselves, and that's actually why you have two men seated in our beautiful sets. We usually like to put women, but then we put men, two of them actually today. Let's see how regularly men do check their checkups.
Men should go for their medical checkup, I think around 3 to 4 months. They should always go and check their health because there are a lot of sicknesses that are on the rise, like the diabetes, hepatitis, all those sicknesses. When you are always in contact with public, you encounter them. So there are diseases that must be checked, and even cancer.
Every year, quarterly, it should be done because we don't know what is what we have within us unless we go to the clinic to do tests and checkups. Because if we say we should just live by what we are just seeing, most people have this low BP, high BP without even knowing, but just a little something will just trigger it. I'll say your sugar level and blood pressure, whether low or high. So basically just two things.
They should go there when the need arise. As far as I'm concerned, what I do is I control what I'm eating. I control my movements. I have car, but I don't rely on car. If I'm going a short distance, all I do is I trek. But if it's a long distance, then I carry my car. And my food, I don't eat all this sweet food too much. I believe in this thing, natural food, more than artificial food. And God is protecting me.
Supposed to be twice or thrice in a year. One should be blood pressure, BP, diabetes, hepatitis. These are the 3 sensitive diseases. They need to check them almost every year because they are very, in fact, more especially that hepatitis is a killer disease. It kills silently, so there is a need for you to be checking your hepatitis almost 2 or 3 times a year.
3 times a year. Like sugar level, heart, and exercise is very, very important. These are the key things that you can do to make sure that you are healthy all the time.
Well, for me, they can go once in 6 months, and then they can go check up their sugar level, prostrates.
At least 3 months is what enough for medical checkup. There are various things to check up for now. There are increasing rate of some of the things we eat in the markets now that are getting affected. All these condiments of preserved food and the rest of them, they're having effects on us on the long run. So there are things we should be checking up. The rate of prostate cancer in the likes of men, and the rate of high blood pressure, the sugar level, and the rest of them are things I think one should always have insight of on a regular basis.
All right, our internal organs, loving them better, and there's no way you can show love rather than do a checkup and be sure that they're in order. Since you can't see them, with your physical eyes, you need to go and do checkup. And I'm impressed that a lot of Nigerians, especially the men, we interviewed only the men, were able to tell us that they check as much as 3 times a year. And I'm wondering, doctor, is that over-checking or under-checking?
Thank you very much. Well, that was very interesting, but I'm not sure they were saying they were checking. They were suggesting,
recommending for others.
Because the truth of the matter really is that, I stand to be corrected, men have a poor health-seeking behavior.
Wow.
In fact, a lot of time their wives or friends have to keep pushing them to drag them to hospital. Nigerians in general, but men are the worst. Because the average Nigerian, when you say, I want to go for a checkup, say these doctors, once they go, they must find something, I beg.
But it's not easy, like. Sorry.
Say these doctors, they must find something. So I think that maybe we on our side are not doing enough education to make people realize there's a need for checkup. Let's take hypertension, for example. It's a silent killer. You'll be walking around, and because we have medication available, when you have a headache, you go and take Panadol. And when you finally get the person into hospital, you are shocked to find that his blood pressure hitting the roof. I remember when I was much younger, about 1985, I was working in a hospital in one of the states. And one of my ogas came in for me to find his performance evaluation report. Well, I was in the army then, and I was a captain. So this lieutenant colonel comes in to check for me to fill his form. And he says, well, the least I should do is take your blood pressure. It's okay. And his blood pressure hit the roof, was hitting the roof. I said, I'm sorry, sir, we need to admit you're actually a walking time bomb. He said, no, I'm traveling with the GOC. As I was talking, I called my commander. I said, sir, I have so and so here. This is his blood pressure. I think he should be admitted. He said, give him the phone. The man went from that consulting room to admission until we got his blood pressure down. Because we're walking around. So, and what is the problem with that? Is as apart from the fact that you could get a stroke, or the person could get a stroke, a persistently high blood pressure is damaging the internal organs, and principle of which you're talking about the kidneys. And the kidney is one
high
organ.
Blood pressure affects kidney.
A lot of the kidney failures we have in Nigeria are secondary to high blood pressure, with the brother diabetes.
What? The brother said diabetes.
Now, it is important for you to note that the kidney is one organ. When it fails, you have to replace, if you can afford to replace it, because it does not repair itself. Unlike the liver, where you can lose 30% of your liver.
Yes,
even if you have 30% left, it can recover. Yes, but when it fails, that's gone. Because because the liver is a place that cleans out everything. Liver and kidney do a lot of the cleaning of the body.
And the kidneys too, if one fails, you can function on one, right?
I agree.
Okay.
However,
if one fails, but when you're talking about hypertension, you're talking of a disease that affects the whole body, what we call systemic disease. So it's unlikely to be affecting only one kidney. So there is a need for a regular checkup. Of course, we're talking of in adult age group here, so that at least once a year.
Okay,
You should have a full
once a year.
At least once a year.
At least once a year.
It depends, and also it depends on your age group.
Okay.
Now, in the younger people, 40 and below, you have different things to worry about. Okay? There are also the groups that are more sexually active. And statistically, you tend to have STIs more in that age group. That is sexually transmitted infections. They're more likely in those age groups. Okay? And these also have effect on reproduction.
Wow. Even when it's treated?
Well, when it's treated and is good, fine. But when it is recurrent, then it's going to cause a lot of damages. A man who has one STI is treated and is good within a short time, no problem. But when you have recurrent infections, it can cause a whole gamut of problems to the reproductive system, and that will now cause infertility.
I know when it happens, they won't tell us the truth too. When a girl cannot conceive, they will say it's a woman.
Yeah, this generally, the general thinking of the average African is that the man is virile, in as much as he's able to, visit the other room and do well, without getting to understand the underlying factors. I've always seen my body like a car. Everything around me, I use everything around me to kind of regulate. If your car starts overheating, and you don't take care of it on time, you lose your gasket, you gradually begin to lose your engine.
Absolutely.
The same thing with hypertension. The same thing with other factors. The kidney, like what doctor said now, is really, I didn't get to understand it that once your kidney fails, that's the end of it, So what are we doing to ensure that the kidney does not fail? What is our lifestyle? You have to say 40 below, I've other things to worry. No, there are 35 that are dying now, falling down. Hypertension. Dying because the food we eat, high salt content, is killing us gradually, but we don't know. I stopped using Maggi for the past 7 years.
What's that?
Maggi seasoning.
Yeah. Monosodium glutamate.
Yeah, sodium for the past 7 years in my cooking, it's not there. Because I noticed, I read that, this thing damages certain factors in your body. So why do we have it in our food? We go to public places and we eat fast food like crazy. So if we do the right thing, it will have less to worry about. We are supposed to live long, yes, but at the same time we can also live short without getting the right thing.
Supposed to
it's not the men's problem, it's also like an African thing. The man is told to be like a strong man. Even when he's dying, your blood pressure is so high, you say like, I'm fine. Because
don't appear weak.
Don't appear weak.
I'm
That's why the guy is. That's why the men go just drop. He wakes up in the morning, he's trying to brush his teeth and he's gone.
But I think I read somewhere that statistically, married men live longer than married women because the women push their husbands to go for medical checkups and neglect themselves.
I beg to differ.
I beg to differ. If you check
I need to be sure if we need to do that research again, or we need to ask the public if the women actually push their men to go for checkup
likely would push,
and neglect
especially
themselves.
when you get to the other room, you realize that the performance level is dropping. The firing is no longer as expected. A guy tries to push his throttle and is not moving effectively. Then you want to begin to ask, you need to go to checkup. But women live longer than men because women take care of themselves more than the men do.
Actually, for the medical I need to know if that's the fact.
No, I actually think women take care of themselves more than men. See,
that's me. Not just that women take care of themselves more than men. The whole government of our system takes care of men, takes care of women, and neglect men.
True.
Dog, how can you say that?
That's simple.
That's wait. At least
you see, name 4 NGOs that look after men.
That's too much now, dog.
Okay.
Name 2.
Just name one.
Name one that look after men. None. None.
Because all the NGOs, though they are catering for the women are there to collect and get back to their husbands. That's me.
Lizzie, I didn't know that
I don't even want to go to our health system. What you hear all the time is maternal and child health. If you go to the streets of Abuja, let's not go far. Go and ask them who is a urologist.
Nobody will know.
More than 80% of people have never heard of a urologist.
Doctor, I would say 90 because it took me
Talk about
adult age.
gynecologist.
It took my adult age to know about urologists. When my dad had to go through the knife with prostrates, you know, then I knew. That's what I knew. If not, I wouldn't even know about it. I started reading to know what it requires, how to be able to prevent similar things that happened to him. Exactly. You know, so I don't get through. So you have to do this. So I started doing those things to ensure that the pipe is always free, not get those benign growth.
Doctor, I think why they don't know urologists as much as gynos is because gynos actually are in charge of reproduction, bringing the child to life,
so
pregnancy.
So that's
it. I'm coming. So that's but the urologist is not really doing much of that.
Okay. That's why you just took the word off my mouth. You know what? Because most of the men who are infertile, the wives take them to the gynecologist. It is somewhere along the line. The gynecologist recommend to the urologist. You understand? Because
if it's not selfish, because some of them will keep you.
Because so don't even disclose their situation.
Is a problem of the urologist, not the gynecologist. But let me also tell you why that is so important. In the 80s, when we were in medical school, we were told that male factor infertility was 30%. Today, male factor infertility is 40 to 50%. So you say an infertile couple, everybody is saying, oh boy, it be like saying a man you go marry you. And they do not know that the man is the woman. 50% of the time, the man is actually the one who is responsible for this situation. So you better begin to think again to make sure you take care of the men properly. Because otherwise, when the men are not properly taken care, you're going to take the blame.
In most cases, they refer you to the gynecologist.
Yes.
I remember when back then, being married and the baby wasn't coming in. The first we would go and see a gynecologist. So we went to see a gynecologist, talked and said, okay, we have to do this, I have to do that. I was not referred to a urologist. This was like 2005, 2006. I was not referred to a urologist. You can imagine as early as 2006, I was referred to a gynecologist. He took his time, talked about if some tests going to be done. He never said, okay, go see a urologist, because the market, the profit is what he will be looking at. To keep it there, maybe from time to time, because as any medical doctor has some kind of peripheral knowledge about every other thing. So it gives you 1 or 2 suggestions to go about. But ask me to go and see a urologist. Okay, go and be sure if your pipe is clear. Let the man who is responsible understand the dynamics in the environment to look at you and profile solution. He never referred. He just after much we took grace and all of that, started doing another factor, the baby started coming in. We now realized it wasn't necessarily this factor, it was this other factor.
All right, but my question now is, doctor, you're talking about taking care of the men, we helping the men take care of themselves. I don't want to go into that argument because I know that I'll win. But then let's go generally. Let's go generally.
I'm happy that we can take a vote here. 2 men, we'll see.
I will pinch him. He will stay at the
Well, the man is the head, the woman is the neck.
So we can always turn you around. That's why I said I'll win. Exactly. But all the same, talking about taking care of ourselves, I want you to go into that for us. But quickly, somebody asked us a question that I want to take. this week, and I clearly remember it. It said that she would like to know, I don't know if it's a he or she, but he would like to know the difference between PID, because we mentioned it last week, and UTI. And I think PID is pelvic
inflammatory disease.
That means it's feminine. It's not masculine. So the UIT, I don't know what UTI.
Okay, urinary tract infection.
Okay.
Now, when you're talking about urinary tract infection, specific, you're talking about infection that involves the kidneys, the ureters, the bladder, the urethra. Okay. Now, these are purely urinary system. But when you're not talking of PID, you are not beginning to involve the reproductive organs in the female pelvis.
Oh, okay.
The womb.
Oh, okay.
The tubes. Okay, so you're now talking that the whole of that area is affected by the infection.
Sorry, what's the PIV? What's the
PID?
Pelvic inflammatory disease. You wouldn't know you don't have pelvics. Sorry.
What?
But
he has pelvis, but he doesn't have the, because these are pelvis.
I have pelvis, yeah.
We all have.
I don't want to have the slight.
What do people use it for?
Sciatica.
This is the pelvis.
This is the pelvic that is there.
It's the one that's carrying
that
you.
carries that.
Carrying you.
Okay.
The pelvic girdle.
Okay.
But we're now being more specific to the inflammation in the female reproductive organ.
Okay.
When we're talking about PID, we're talking about the inflammation that involves the female reproductive organ, not just urinary tract infection.
All right. So the urinary tract infection are the organs like kidney.
The urinary organs, which will be kidney, ureter, bladder, and the urethra.
Does it also does it also involve the scrotum area as relates to the sperm and all of that?
No. For the man, when a man has usually we're not talking about infection affecting those areas are often sexually transmitted, but they may not be. They may just, but they are, yes, they are also can be a affectation of the male reproductive.
Doctor, I want to know. I know that when we had the interviews with the men, some people suggested 3 months, 3 times a year. You said once.
At least
once. Sorry. But is there any symptom that a man can have that will prompt him to, that the wife can say, "Oh, you need to
go and check."
Like he mentioned, he said, "Oh, the throttle and all of that, the strength is not there." But what are the immediate signs?
Greek words. I don't know what is throttle.
You don't know, but you're even demonstrating with
it.
He mentioned it. I'm borrowing his words.
Okay. I think that, you see, if you are in the same room with your husband, and you find out that this man who will sleep and snore through the night, every few minutes is waking up to go to the bathroom, and will spend some time there before he comes back. Soon after, he's going back again. Are you not going to be worried?
Definitely.
You're going to be worried. Where is this man waking up several times to go and urinate?
Is he got to make phone calls? The first thing is suspicion.
Because I was thinking, phone calls.
Has he got an infection?
Excuse me.
If you now ask and say that he wakes up to urinate very often, you're now beginning to wonder, what's the cause of this? Now, let me begin to think like a doctor. Would he have diabetes?
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Would he have prostate enlargement? Okay? If he goes and he stays there for a long time, and he comes back and runs back again, is he having an obstruction to his urine flow?
You call it urine incontinence?
No. Incontinence is when you can't control it.
Okay.
Now, so when you have that, it could be, if it has a bladder outlet obstruction, as we now call it, it could be an enlarged prostate. It could be stone in the bladder. It could be a narrowing of the outlet for urine, the urethra. It could be a number of things. So the point to make is that you can notice abnormal behavior, like to answer your question. Then you will now say, why don't you go and check yourself? Because there must be something wrong.
But Doc, there's a challenge, with the kind of society we live in and how ineffective we communicate with our spouses. If the man starts going out to have that experience that you just mentioned, the first thing that comes to mind is not even his health. It's suspicion that he's talking to someone on phone. It's going to come. That's the first thing that comes to mind. And so when the man begins to say this, so it's important we all get knowledge, primary knowledge. You know, you said something from the beginning. You said, is it the fault of the doctors not educating the public very well? And that's the truth. What are we doing in our primary health system in terms of primary education, health education rather? Are we really teaching those basic things that people need to know so that they see those signs, they can easily raise their alarm, escalate it? And then I saw you waking up frequently to go to that. Is there anything wrong? Is it,
even if, what if a woman does not even, notices? She does not notice that the husband is waking up because she too is fast asleep.
Yeah.
Some men, they are married. They love their wives, either because they are being too protective, they have issue, they don't want to discuss it.
Sometimes
so they notice, maybe it could be from shame, I don't know. I know a couple that had prostate issue and the man refused to talk about it until it was almost late. So I don't think it's the right thing, because if you share it with your wife, she will instantly begin to look for help for you.
That's why I said ineffective communication. If you tell your wife something that affects you and it was not received very well,
you won't
the next time you won't wait to do
bother.
Or you decide to be vulnerable, right? And the next thing, a little quarrel or something is used against you.
Wow.
Right?
Wow, that's
so the next time
we are not mean like that.
Another
question I want to ask
is what he's saying is quite practical. I think it's important. Communication is so important. Knowledge and then communication.
Yeah.
And then also proper use of that information. I mean, like you said, because see, one of the problem of being a man is that even when you are dying, you don't want to be vulnerable
at all. Because of the environment you live in, the acceptance of that vulnerability and the help you get.
Yeah.
Imagine you're told, you touch her at night and she says, you disturb me now, just after 1 minute now you get out of this place.
So
there are underlying issues resulting to that fact.
Exactly.
And you're trying to want to communicate that, but she does not want to show empathy. So key thing I tell people is understanding that empathy are very key components to allow your partner to be able to open up to you.
Yeah.
And once you show empathy, you don't use the same issue as a reference point of discussion. Because if not, next time you won't get that person to communicate again. I engage a lot of men, Doc. You know, we have this forum, I have a men forum where we talk a lot of issues. And some of the things you get, the feedback you get, some of them can't even say when they have these things. Some suffer in silence, find different things, look for a support system to jumpstart the system, look for drugs. And I say, look, you don't take drugs to jumpstart your system. There are natural processes you can actually do to help you. I've had the experience where, I thought I was jazz or kind of sham, because in the morning I wasn't getting my morning action, in the morning. You're supposed to. And when you get to the other room, you're like praying to allow Lazarus to resurrect. But this was a psychological issue.
You sure have the NTA language.
So what I want to ask is some of the factors that can maybe make a woman say, oh, you need to go and see a doctor. So when a man has a smoking, is a smoker and drinks, maybe without even having symptoms or anything, do you think it is okay because we are at a point in our life where everybody is trans acceptance, so sometimes you don't have to judge people, you just have to accept that, okay, this is that, as far as you're not trying to influence me. But for a wife thinking about look, I want to live long with you, do you just tell your husband, okay, because you smoke and you drink, go straight to the hospital, let's see
well, if you do it to me with your hand like that, I will not do that.
Oh wow, Uncle, leave this thing because it's a relationship you have with your spouse that it can be.
Is it both of us reacted the same way?
No.
I know, I won't say like this. I will just say, you need to. I mean, the diplomacy will come. However, it's coming from a place of genuine concern.
And you see, we reacted the same way.
No, but what if it's coming from a place of maybe?
Okay, I think generally, doctor is trying to tell us that whatever you do, the men remain the head. But then the head cannot move without the neck.
We have no
so they need pampering. You can't even turn them. The men need pampering to get things done.
If you tell me that because you smoke and you drink, go and see the doctor. I'm going to find what to tell you. The same reason why you should go and see the doctor.
Answer.
So
Help us. Meet us halfway.
Let me explain to you, because you can achieve the same thing without using that. For example, smokers have early morning cough.
Yeah.
They have the smoker's cough. You have it in mind to tell him to go and see the doctor. Then you, at this period, you find that this cough has increased. Say, then I think we should go and see a doctor. This your cough is increasing. I know you usually have a smoker's cough, but this one is a bit more. Let's go and see the doctor.
Sounds better.
They are going to achieve the same thing.
Okay. But in that case, is it your type of doctor, or what? Is it a general practitioner?
No, you're not going to be seeing a chest physician. You will see a general physician who will refer you to a chest physician.
Doc, how about, the same scenario, and the cough is coming, and she comes like, this is why the cough like this. What you go? We go kiss. Right?
Why are you only thinking about the worst?
No, because see, the human,
it's very practical.
I'm telling you what, the man, right? The man is for every resistance, for every authority there is resistance. Whenever there is an authority, and the man is wired in such a way that he's not ready to kowtow to any authority, even general human beings as a woman, to do the same thing. So suggestive reasoning, oftentimes it's the best approach, and sometimes comically. You say, I will go kiss. You say, nobody. It's the cough continues. This your cough is increasing, or it's persistent. Don't you think we should go see a doctor? Don't even mention the cigarette thing, because when you mention it, he's going to resist it. Telling you you're trying to use that as a basis to want to go and ask you something. So when you do that, it helps. We need to find ways with which to meet our partners in a language that makes it subtle.
Subtle, yes.
And not necessarily being authoritative over them. Because if you do that, at least even your child, a boy, tell a boy to go pick that. He doesn't go say, my sweetheart, go and get me this thing. You will see the difference.
He will smile.
He will smile and go and do it. Because you have used the language. The man is a king. Understand that. He's a king.
Let's debate kinship for now. And some people are writing into us. Let's quickly take some of our messages. Doctor, I know that they say water is good, but I don't like drinking water. Would this affect me or my organs?
Of course.
I like people who don't want to drink water. So I want to encourage them to work hard in the sun, so that they can form kidney stones and come to me.
So you can make money.
So I can make some money.
Become a farmer, perhaps.
Like the guy, the casket maker who is always praying for
So I think it's important that we understand, for a child, about 70% of that child's body is water. For you, about 60%, in fact 70 to 80% of the child is water. 60 to 80% of me and you is water. So you need to drink water.
Okay.
And you're always losing water.
Yeah, sweat.
It's not all the sweat and all that. I mentioned kidney stone as a joke, but it's a serious matter. As we are seated here, everything you need in your body to form kidney stone is there.
Wow.
It's there. In your urinary system, it is all there. All you need to do is to get more dehydrated or get an infection that affects the kidneys, and then it will form a nidus for crystallization.
Wow.
Okay? So the first thing we tell a patient who has a tendency to drink plenty of water. And water is good for your body. Everything that functions in your body requires water. Drink water. Don't take 2 to 3 liters for an adult is good.
2 to 3 liters a day.
Only.
A day. So we can do more than that.
Well, if you have kidney stone, I'll tell you to do more than that. But 2 liters.
Wouldn't there be water? Because I've seen these people who say,
that is also something we need to interview, because people tell me, when I wake up in the morning, I take 1.5 liters of water. I'm doing water therapy. Fantastic. However, we want to have a continuous urine flow throughout the day. We need your kidney needs to be functioning, hydrated throughout the day. So you have enough liquid to work with. You take 1.5 liter in the morning, then take at night. You've left yourself for 12 hours without adequate hydration.
So you just have to break it down.
Because I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is like maybe 100 cl of water. Now that helps my bowel system and all of those things. But I also realize that once I do that, I don't hang around. My urine frequency is in the first early hours of the morning increases.
Yeah.
Now over time, I've also learned that you don't just gulp water like that. You drink water when you need water, because the kidney needs water. It's like the grinding machine. If there's no water in your grinding machine, you notice that it ceases from, it
starts grating.
It starts grating and all of those things. So we need the water to be able to do that. So now the question I want to ask Doc is this: as a man in my 50s, how frequently do I need to drink water? And also, in drinking water, what are the other things I need to take to help, like you talked, if the kidney fails, that's the end, to help the kidney? Because I know that there's a connecting relationship between the kidney and the urethra. Once the kidney start failing, the performance also start failing in the other room. I'm very keen with that, because this is the age where we need more of those.
I think it's important to note, like I said, you need to, like you say, 2 to 3 liters. In fact, most people will do with 2 liters a day. But it's not you take it in the morning and forget. Take a continuous flow throughout the day, so that you have. But there's the body is such a fantastic machine. There's something called the test mechanism. It senses when you need water and creates the desire to drink water in you. It's telling you, the body is telling you, I need water. I need water. Give me water. But a lot of people who don't like to drink water will now be taking Coca-Cola, beer.
Yeah, because I was going to ask.
You see, because
can you replace that?
It really can't replace it, because if you are really thirsty, you will take all that. You still need to take water. Okay. Because and also remember that when you take those stuff, your body is going to take the water from it, and those ones will either go out, or depending on what, maybe you
and start forming out inside.
You store some of them
calories
when you don't need. No. I was just watching a program yesterday, and say a bottle of Sprite, the one abroad, not the Nigerian one that is much sweeter, had 14 cubes of sugar. So imagine someone who takes 5 bottles of Sprite a day.
That's a no-no. Okay, can I replace my water, with coffee? Because I boil the water, add some coffee or tea.
Because people add things now into water.
Can I replace it?
Some sachet stuff.
Let me see,
that it's vitamins.
When we take other look at a sort of water, thinking, okay, it's in place of water. What it does is that you give more work to the kidneys.
Exactly.
To start
to separate them.
To separate them. Now, the kidney that is supposed to be doing other function now is not busy trying to clean this system, because the kidney is the cleanser. It's not trying to clean your water. It's like you go fetch dirty water from the stream, and you come back home and you put water purifier. Before that water purifies for you to drink, you know what happens? Now you need to increase the pH level. So those are the things that, why do you now suffer the kidney from doing this other work that is not supposed to be doing, then expect it to do? So, Doc.
But you know that when you come to coffee, you are craving cafe, you are not looking for water. That is the truth. Because
subtle drug taking.
For those of us who like coffee, it's actually the coffee you want, not the water.
Exactly.
We need to differentiate between that. You can't use coffee to replace water. How much coffee can you drink anyway? For you to get enough, so you take 2 liters of coffee a day.
Those who drink coffee,
some of us don't like water. What I do again is I get my bottle of water. Usually I have this 2-liter jerry can that I carry around. I put a bit of water, cucumber, sometimes a drop of vitamin C,
crystallize,
and let it
to flavor the water.
Yes, because water is not sweet.
Sugar coated.
Sometimes lemon, put a little bit of it. So I don't feel like I'm taking straight up water.
Whatever you do, don't take the kind of sugar you're taking in Sprite.
Okay.
Because,
no, I don't push sugar.
Because
What about this? Now I'm looking at this bottle here, and I'm like, this is poison, kind of.
This is.
It doesn't have any wrapper around it. So
it doesn't have any wrapper. That's fine. So we can talk about it, and nobody say we are demarketing them. Because the truth of the matter is this: as you get older, you really need to cut down the amount of sugar you take in. Why? Because you have an organ called the pancreas, which is responsible for producing insulin, which is responsible for processing sugar
from disaccharide.
You know, now you find out that you're fine, you're not diabetic.
Okay.
But you start taking a lot of this, and then you become diabetic. What has happened? You have exhausted the beta cells of the pancreas.
So at a certain age in life, you exhaust the beta.
No. What we're saying, because of the load
constant
of sugar you're giving
load.
it, and if you have the genetic predisposition or the tendency to become diabetic, you're going to go to the state that you're going to exhaust those cells. They will no longer be able to cope with the amount of sugar you are giving to them. Then the patient has what we call adult onset diabetes.
Adult consent.
Adult onset.
Okay.
Okay. So I think it's important we are careful what we put into our body, and the way you begin to put on a lot of weight. Especially, you see, one of the things about weight gain is that you get lazy about doing anything about it until it becomes to give you knee pain. I'm talking about myself now. So, okay. So then you begin to walk to lose weight. Now, there's a lot of problem with that, with gaining weight. Number one, what I want to put as number one now is that apart from the risk of diabetes, you are giving a lot of load to your heart to work. Hypertension, predisposition to when the load becomes too much for the heart to carry, heart failure. You are predisposed to most cancers. Anyone you have a tendency for, it begins to have a higher tendency to manifest. Because when you check most studies, they're going to tell you there's a relationship between obesity and various cancers. So it becomes important for us to begin to make an effort to do it. And we don't need too much effort. The problem is that we need to get up and start walking. It start from here. So if you can do like 30 minutes of walking, you don't even have to run a day on a regular basis, and control what we eat. In fact, for the average adult to lose weight, you have to take in less than 2,000 calories a day.
Less than 2,000 calories.
There's a study that I actually started deploying, which is rationing what I need to eat.
Yeah.
Because I in my little research, I found out that if you reduce the intake of your duodenum, if you don't have that large duodenum because of what you eat, it reduces your size at the same time. Because the duodenum happens to be the stomach, happens to be the warehouse of all bacteria. And if that place is healthy, then it means your body can also be healthy. So what I started doing is to reduce the ration, so I don't feel bloated per time. Now, in my not feeling bloated, I don't get overweight, because of that. I recently checked my weight. I realized I'm like 189, kg. I'm like, this is even much. I need to reduce further. So I started cutting down on what I eat and reducing my food pattern in the night mostly, because they say you have about 4 hours for digestion. 4 or 5 hours of digestion. So what am I eating before going to bed so that can digest? Before I wake up in the morning, so that I can have a good bowel system. So I wanted a situation where you can actually tell us more about this, because this is mostly for men. Women always have different ways with it because they do a lot of activities. They're very busy, so they can burn some calories along the road.
Yeah, but the problem with being busy depends on how busy you are. Do you actually burn calories when you are busy? Depends on how busy you are.
We can be busy pressing our phones.
To add what he's asking, right? You know, with this, the era of social media and awareness and wokeness, you have a lot of people who come to give advice. And because people are so engulfed with social media, they take some advices literally. So I recently read about scent leaf. Someone was doing a whole analysis on scent leaf and how it helps with ulcer, cleansing for diabetes, cleansing for this. Like the person gave a whole. So what I did was I called, I sent it to a doctor friend of mine. I said, tell me your opinion on this. And he said, you see, the person did not even give you the measurements, the portion, the nothing to take. So they say, go and boil ugu, you buy 700 naira, abi scent leaf, you buy 700 naira own and start drinking. You don't know, you can get into shock or something. So when they give advice like that, oftentimes there is no proper direction on how to go. So I don't know if
my answer to that usually is that I'm not an alternative medicine practitioner, so I really don't have an answer for you. So what I always tell people is this, like the doctor said to you. My own grandfather was very good with herbs. In fact, I wanted to study pharmacy, not medicine. But somehow I got into medicine. There's a lot that is good in our herbs. But we need to have a dosage. We need to have proper preparation, because if you have 10 different herbs prepared of the same day, their concentrations are different. We need to have their concentration. Then you'll be able to do dosage. You have to do toxicity studies, because they tell you, no, it's herbal, therefore there's no problem. It's not true. So I'm very wary of those things. I remember there's this Zobo.
Yeah.
A relation of mine first tested it in Sudan, and they told you it's very good for hypertension. He dropped his antihypertensives. I was taking that. By the time he came back, the blood pressure was hitting the roof. Does it mean that it's not effective? I don't know. However, we started taking it because he don't want to take these chemicals called drugs. He want to take something natural. I think we must be careful. Like I say, I'm not the expert in that, but I do know that it is important that if you're going to take those things in place of your medication, you must make sure that you have a proper dosage. You have to have the toxicity studies, so you make sure that you are safe.
Okay, doctor, you know, you mentioned Zebo. I quickly remember my own experience. I like the taste in my mouth. I like the smell. I like everything about it. But each time I take it, my system is disorganized for a very long time.
With sugar. Meanwhile, they said
I don't put anything. It's just the Zobo boiled with honey. That's all. So and ordinarily
you
I
put
take
something now.
No, the honey. I don't react to honey. If I put the honey in my maybe tea or whatever, I don't react. But once it's inside Zobo, I react to it.
So the question
is the Zobo that is the problem?
No, it's not the Zobo.
What is the product that comes from combination of Zobo and honey? Have you thought of that?
That's the thing.
So because if you put sugar, you may not get the same effect.
No, I don't like sugar, so I've never really tried sugar. It's too bitter.
So it's important.
Dog, we have to go, and there are messages here. I guess we'll have to reply them off air. But then, on a parting note, I need you to just say one thing for Nigerians to keep themselves clean. It's important.
Well, I think it's important that you have a regular health check, like I said, at least once a year. And what checks that will be done for you will depend on your age. For example, if you're a man and you're 40 years and above, whatever check they do for you, I will encourage you to include an assessment of your prostate, because prostate cancer is under silent killer in our country.
All right.
But whatever it is, please do your blood pressure and check your blood sugar.
Check. Okay. Inobong, what are you going to be doing for your husband?
That one is in trouble.
What are you going to ask him to do now?
So honestly, I'm thinking I would like he said, you have to be a little gentle, but I'm hoping that I can be gentle enough to tell him to go for medical checks by tomorrow. Okay. Because since we got married, I've been the one going for medical checks. I have done unbelievable and painful medical checks, and he doesn't. So it's more like, let's be equal. Doctor,
so you want to be vengeance?
It's not vengeance. Let's just be, let's just be safe that we are both healthy. We are about to live long, and
Kevin, your parting words.
Yeah, parting word. I think people should learn to be more go for more plant-based meals, because I've seen that work, magic in my system. I had 1 month, just plant-based meal, no animal protein in my food. All of those things were just plant-based, and I saw the magic it did in my system. So plant-based meal will help, because most of the drugs we think we're going to go get are also plant-based extraction. So if we go by a plant-based meal, then we can help our system. Yeah.
I thank you very much. It's been another wonderful 1 hour, and I'll just leave you with the words: whatever you do, take care of yourself, because there's no another you, and you're important to us. Conversations. So look forward to seeing you again next week. And love yourself, show yourself love. Ciao, ciao.